Hello, it's me you're looking for. Lionel Richie for you there. A little bit of ham and eggs coming at you there. A little bit of ham and eggs coming at you in mind. We're getting riddles right, people. Okay, so Katawa Shoujo, episode 110. I think. I have no idea. Okay, here we go. What happened last time? We were in the bedroom, and then we kissed. Okay. Yes, that was it. Okay. I stand unmoving in front of the doors to the nurse's office for what we feel like at least a dozen minutes or so. It's not like I never entered the small stage room before, nor is it because of any feeling of childlike anxiety over the visit. Maybe it's because the nurse's office is akin to a confessional, an admission that my body is flawed. The knowledge that such a fact is kept entirely confidential between the nurse and I hardly lessens the feeling. Remembering that the bell to signal the end of lunch break will sound soon. I give a sigh and open the door. The burden will stay with me just this while longer. Well now, if it isn't Naki, good to see you. Well now, Naki, good to see you. Oh, bad, I guess, considering I'm a nurse. He gives a small laugh, assumed at his little joke, amused at his little joke. Oh, you find your little joke funny, are you? Oh, it's a very funny little joke you told us, sir. I find his humour lacking and somewhat off, but the fact that he can make light of such a situation is perhaps comforting, or at least distracting. His brief episode of entertainment over, he claps his hands together and gets down to business. I take a seat as he gestures for me to do so. I wish the classrooms had seats this comfortable. I can feel my my mind wandering as my eyes quickly scan the room, distracted by all the small changes since I last came. Alrighty, so what brings you here? I haven't seen you often, so I assume your health's been good so far. Well, mostly. Let's see. His smile drops as I trail off. I feel slightly guilty about it. It's these moments where I can't rationally call myself normal that make me so reluctant to see the nurse. There's an admission that I'm different from everyone else. While I was on a trip during the long weekend, I had a few problems with my heart. He hums very seriously and nods as he does so, urging me to go on. I think it was... Yeah, I was walking a fairly long distance. I think the right term for it is a heart flutter. I suddenly went weak at the knees and felt almost like I was having a small heart attack, but it passed in about a half a minute. Even afterwards, though, I felt pretty fatigued and nauseous. Not good at all. How many days ago exactly? Did you do anything unusual aside from exerting yourself before the episode? Were you taking your medication properly? The nurse switches from awkward jokester to serious health professional mode, rattling off questions and making notes and calling up stuff on his computer. I tell him about my forgetting to take my pills that morning and the preceding evening. It was a stupid thing to do, but I can't change anything about it now, except answer honestly and bite the bullet. His seriousness evolves into a frown, and the talk evolves into an instant checkup. I finish buttoning up my shirt and again get motioned to take a seat in front of the nurse. Is this the first heart problem you've had since you came to Yamaku? I've had short pains in my chest before, but just a couple of times, but they were more discomfort than anything like this. He leans back in his chair, briefly resembling a white-coated Poirot. Poirot? Is that spelled Poirot? Poirot? Is that white-coated Poirot as he mulls over the mysterious... Is that actually what it is? A white-coated Poirot as he mulls over the mysterious case of the heart flutter? Moving his lips from side to side to show he's thinking, his non-existent moustache wiggling. Yeah, it is. It's the Poirot thing. That's really cool. Two references to that now. He eventually comes to a conclusion. Well, he survived it. There's always on the plus side. I blink at this once, then notice the nurse is wearing his gotcha face. It's actually somewhat reassuring. I don't think he would crack jokes if things were really serious, so I kept silent and take my lumps. Take my lumps. My lumps. My lovely lady lumps. Check it out. I'll have a talk with your doctor, but right now I suspect it's simply due to a physical exertion. Have you been keeping up with regular exercise like I directed you to? I make sure to walk a reasonable amount every day. It's usually enough to work up a bit of a sweat, but then again, I'm not really as fit as I used to be. That should be enough then. The main thing is to keep in mind is to do regular low-stress exercise, not just short bursts or sprinting as such. I understand. Since leaving the hospital, I've been a lot more focused on my studies, partly to take my mind off not being able to do more physical things. It's good to hear you're coping well. Sudden lifestyle changes can be hard at the best of times, so I'm pleased to hear that you sound like you're having everything in order. Almost everything, it is. Nevertheless, I want to keep a close eye on you for a while, just for observation's sake, just to make sure things aren't going downhill, do you understand? That's something I really didn't want to hear. Since coming to Yamaku, all I ever wanted to do is live as normal a life as possible. Observation was one of the words I came to hate most during my hospital stay. For so long as I felt as it could just walk straight out of the hospital doors, if not for that observation the doctors wanted so dearly. Sure, should I come in more often? Oh, yes, just... These things doesn't all charge very much anymore. He checks the calendar next to his computer, which seems to inflict on him a nasty case of furrowed brow. Oh no. He spins back towards me after that. The summer holidays are a bit of a pain considering the timing. I check with your doctor to try and get a better handle on the situation and see how we want to proceed, but I think you should take things slowly and carefully for now. What you're describing doesn't immediately sound like a recurring event, but it won't hurt to slow down for a bit for a while, just to make sure. I'll have sex. What should I do for today? He looks over my shoulder at a clock hanging over the door. I'd never have noticed it if I hadn't followed his gaze. It's nearly time for school to be over, so you may as well just leave early. He gives me a sly wink, sure that I understand he's doing me a favour. Well, nurse's orders. Thanks. That's what I'm here for, after all. I know you might not want to hear this, but you can't ignore your condition. Don't hesitate to ask me see me if you have any further problems, or if you have anything you want to ask. Bye. He spins around and gets back to typing on the computer in front of him. I suppose I'll just read before waiting for Lily by the gate, considering I don't have much else to do. Even as I leave, his words echo in my mind. My condition isn't something as limiting as many of the others here in Yamaku, and I don't want to burden Lily with thinking about it. If I just live my life normally and avoid any short, sharp shocks, I should be okay. I won't let my condition rule me. Lily comes into view soon after This seems a lot less about Lily's issues and more about his, you know? I mean, it's always about that, but this one seems way more focused on him trying to get over his heart, which seems a lot more fragile with her. Lily comes into view soon after the balls. The balls. Heralding the end of school. The bells heralding the end of school, they ring out. She says farewell to a number of her classmates headed in the other direction, before beginning her weekly trip to the convenience store. Afternoon, Lily. The immediate warm smile and relaxed demeanour she assumes upon noticing my presence are unexpectedly welcome. Hello, Hisao. Good afternoon to you too. She hesitates for a second, but deigns to tilt her face forward and close her eyes. My lips meet with hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off hand in hand. The fact we're so close in height is somewhat useful at times, there being no need for either of us to turn our head upwards nor downwards in order to meet the others. It doesn't take much time to leave the noise of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in her free hand, the only sound to be heard. Silence, blissful silence, is all that greets us while we walk slowly down. We slowly walk in the setting sun's light. I think I'm going to really like this town. This huge green hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, and somewhat rustic little buildings. So you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well, eh? I think so. I came from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienated me when I first arrived. After a while it became really nice, though. I think I prefer it to the hustle and bustle of my home city now. Oh, well, I preferred the quiet of such rural towns, even when I first arrived, I suppose. I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are pretty too. Lily may say a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. I notice her expression becoming one of anticipation of some question or another. She always has a good sense for when somebody's not saying something that's on their mind, so I may as well speak up. It's kind of wondering, how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. Oh man, that was really funny. The music in my headphones had a thing with the music cut out for a second, because they do that sometimes when it's wires in there. I thought she'd just gone. She thinks carefully for a time. Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of a room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I can't see is the only way I've experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can. You can't do something that I'm capable of. The fact that the world is made of those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many, many people who suffer much more than I because of the way the world is. That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you can't experience to you. She tilts her head quizzically, as if I just said something that makes very little sense at all. But I can experience it. You just said yourself that like this area because of the way the surroundings are. I like this area for the very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town, surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet away from the din at school and the bustle, not to mention the smells of the city. I suppose it would also be much like the home she shared with Akira as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible. I'm not surprised that she's got a much better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like how her coming from a location somewhat similar to Yamaku's surroundings let her become more acclimatized in a shorter time. Being born blind affected her stance by her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it, but I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lily far too much, given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamaku. That makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining, as always. Come to think of it, where is Hanako anyway? She was with us for lunch. Seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over, and she said she wants to do better this year than the last. Well, I admire her work ethic. She's really been trying to give us a lot of room alone recently. She's that type of person. I think the kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She's a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel like it's only now that when she's less close to me than ever that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she began to become more confident, after all, not me. I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. Calm down, baby, have a piece of cheese. I really wish you would say that at one point. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine what she'd be like without having found someone like you. That much became obvious while you were in Scotland. We're all still friends, so we've just got to have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person. And that much is thanks to you being there for her when she most needed it, just as you were there for me. Makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise. Well, I try. You doing anything on the weekend by any chance? Nothing. What comes to mind? Why? And how about a date on Sunday? It'd be something to do besides exam preparation. Countering my rapidly beating heart, she simply smiles and nods. That'd be lovely. Where would you like to go? Her face suddenly changes to one of disapproval. You can't do that, Hisao. It's cheating. Do what? Yeah, you can't do that, dude. That's not fair. A gentleman should never ask a lady where to have a date. Oh. Her smile quickly comes back, assuring me that she's far from serious. Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we could go. Still. Actually, no. You should probably always ask just to be sure. I'll leave it to you then. I promise to decide on the next day, though. With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of the walk down the hill continues in silence. Even the music fades away. That band following us along. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. The prospect of that lasting for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch sight of a familiar figure waiting for us, her hand held high. Yo! Thank you, please come again. The change in temperature as I step outside from the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. It feels like summer's starting to wind down. They haven't even had summer vacation yet. Starting to look to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well. Though unlike me, she doesn't manage to hide the fact. Something I didn't realise at first was how physically delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Hanako. Hanako? Why do I keep saying Hanako? If I had to describe her, I'd say that she reminds me of a China doll. Akira walks up behind her and gives her a couple of hard pats on her shoulder, much to Lily's consternation. For a moment, she looks as envious as my status as an only child, as the status of my. She looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am of their close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags. Their voice is too low for me to catch, but eventually they break off and we begin the walk back to school. Feels good to be out of that damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here. Kids? Shh, you two then. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. Nowadays, You're not old enough to say that. I don't know, being around Hideki makes me feel damned old. He's so pressed. He's so precocious. He reminds me of when we were younger. He was a nice boy. It'd be a shame if Shizune came to have too much of an influence on him. Akira gives an bitchy. Akira gives an amused snort. Ooh! Antipathy. Other sister's antipathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, treating it more like a childhood spat. She looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here, and he gives a small grin as she reaches towards her back pocket. What is it? Just a sec, let me dig it out. Just a sec, here, let me dig it out now. We got you. What we got you now? Here we go. After quite some difficulty, she manages to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks out to be a folded square of paper. With Lily all but unaware of what's happening, Akira unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. An old photo of what looks to be a younger Lily and Shizune, vaguely operating a noodle style, with some other girl in the background. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint why. And that is Misha, apparently. You can actually see in the face, actually, I guess. Yeah, totes. What is it? What is it, Akira? I think you know. Well, I think you know. Lily mulls this over for a few minutes before realization dawns on her. Akira, you really needn't... It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since you entered Yamaku. We're on each other's throats. I look back to the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Shizune working together so diligently, without any sign of animosity. If the photos of them during Yamaku's festival, that means it must have been taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they were both in the student council together. Who's the girl in the back? She looks kind of familiar. I knew you wouldn't recognize her. It's Misha before she went and dyed her hair pink. That's Misha? No way. It feels extremely strange to see Misha without her hair without her so very distinctive hairstyle. Judging from Akira's tone, she doesn't take favourably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suspect that fact just accentuates how odd the situation looks. To think they were so friendly in the past. I wish I could do something to mend their relationship. You've been very quiet, Hisao. It just feels kind of strange to see you all so friendly like this. Friendly like this? Yeah. Lily moves to say something but stops herself. In the end, it isn't a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily, and nobody else. Things change, unfortunately. I hand the photo back to Akira, who sighs as she folds it up. She folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory, quietly hidden away to be pulled out again some time later. Yeah, that they do. Initially, I think Akira's reaction to be simply in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I'd expect. Lily's expression is clouded as well. What's wrong? It's just that I'll be going to Scotland fairly soon. You're leaving for Scotland again? For a long moment, Akira looks surprised. It's an ill-fitting expression for her. After a glance at Lily, she turns back to me as if she'd never done so. Yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll be leaving for Inverness to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump. Kevin Krubber to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in corporate position, and there's not a chance that's going to come again. So Akira's going to leave Japan on what seems to be a permanent basis. I can't help feeling that my assumption that we could all happily while away our days having fun in this isolated little world is coming to an end. It's unsettling. I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing, despite usually being so forthcoming. She continues to walk with her face fixed pointedly ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, which is discomforting given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at the Shanghai, just before what could be called our first date. At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause, and now feels no different. As we finally reach the school dormitories once again, there's a somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. See you tomorrow then, Lily. Yeah. Bye, Akira. Good night, Hisao. See ya. And with that, they walk to the female dormitories. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. That was a strange moment when Akira said she was leaving. While it wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding my new life had been called into question, it's perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akira's reaction, much less of Lily's. I think she's going to end up trying to go with him or something like that, isn't she? Yeah. The night's chill reminds me to get back to my room before I catch something. Herpes. Flies around at night. My bag spilling down on my arms with seemingly redoubled weight. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with things as they are. The exams are still ongoing. After all, and with the trimesters end and the summer holidays beginning soon, there'll be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, my thoughts turn to what Lily will decide to set as the location of our weekend rendezvous. Why do I have this weird feeling that still end up just like having a meal in her bedroom? Oh, no, apparently it's in a fancy fucking restaurant. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure this is about the last thing I had in mind when Lily said she'd decide where to have our date. No man nor woman is dressed in anything but their finest, their formality only matched by that of their surroundings. Rich red wallpaper adorns the walls as the city lights far below, the flicker and glow. Man, I hope she's paying for this. Combined with the ambient hum of quiet speech and the high-pitched clattering of cutlery and wine glasses, the mood is very formal, yet relaxed enough for me not to feel too uptight despite this being our first real date. Once we get seated, I wait to leave to attend to others with a quick bow after an appreciative nod from Lily. Far from depending on my help, Lily's managed to navigate herself around surprisingly easily so far. Despite the unfamiliar environment, a light brush here and there, and she's generally quite deft at orientating herself as needed. Oh my. That's a nice dress she's wearing. When does it come off? It's Hisao's mind, that is. Hisao, you dirty bugger, stop thinking like that. Sorry. My eyes look to Lily's. I can tell from her face that she's listening to her surroundings just as hard as I'm looking. Though truth be told, my eyes are lingering on her each time they sweep across the room. The red chinogsum she's wearing accents her figure very well and shows off her legs. Even her hair is done up and the scent of perfume is just noticeable. While my black suit may be a rental, oh my god, there's got to be a picture of him in a suit, come on. I managed to select an appropriate one. It feels surprisingly comfortable considering I've so rarely worn one, and fits the setting just as well as Lily's attire. I guess this is a new experience for both of us then. She turns somewhat sheepish. I've never come to a place such as this before, no. One hell of a first day, that's for sure. It's going to be pretty hard for me to top this. A small giggle. Even now, our nervousness is dissipating. Her hand skates along the centre of the table until it touches the menu, which she takes in both hands and brings to her face. Hisao? Is that helping you read? As she lowers the beige, lamented sheet just below her eyes, I can see another sheepish look. I doubt asking the waiter for a menu in Braille would be productive. I can read it out for you, no problem. I take mine and give it a quick read, my small grin faltering. Perhaps there is. What's wrong? There are quite a few items on here, and I'm not completely sure how to pronounce a couple of them. One fine cuisine after another is listed. Most may be in Japanese, but a few are in English and French. I guess it's to be expected, but I have no idea what's in some of these. Oh, this one I recognize. Wait, hang on. You can cook that? A small giggle of amusement comes from behind the paper sheet. Well, I could read them all out, but that'd take a few hours. Is there anything with some kind of fish in it? Let's see. I was going to make a joke then, but I thought best not to. No. Are those poisonous? No. Did I eat that stuff? No. Ah, here we go. A tuna salad seems to be a good bet. From that picture, it looks like it'd be pretty filling as well. That seems to be a reasonably safe option. Let's order 2 then. I'm pretty sure a couple of those dishes are from poisonous animals. I've already had enough deadly run-ins for now. Lily maintains a smile, but there's a distinct lack of laughter. Black humour mustn't be her cup of tea. Though, to be honest, racist. No, I'm joking. I know she means like dark humour. Like, you know, like deaf humour, deaf. Though, to be honest, I don't find it exceedingly funny either. There are certainly quite a few interesting smells wafted about. The same is true of the site, I assume. I've never been anywhere quite like this. A fancy Japanese tea house on an occasion or two, but never anything this lavish nor European in styling. Before another word can be said, a portly waiter in a distressingly tight vest appears on our table to take our orders. Distressingly tight vest. Fictional tuna salad de Nikos, please. 2. Fictional tuna salad de Nikos, please. 2. I hope I didn't mess up the pronunciation of that too badly. Even if I did, he doesn't show it. And, may I have a glass of Chardonnay, please, Hisao? Oh, the same. As the waiter nods and leaves, I suddenly realise that what I said by absent-mindedly mimicking Lily's answer, I regret it pretty quickly. Alcohol. Only a bit. The girl has an odd propensity to get hooked on things, I swear. She's been Chardonnay, don't worry about it. Surprisingly, they didn't ask for identification. Then again, I guess we both do look mature for our age. I'll have to take your word for it. I'll add that this isn't what I'd call the type of place to ask such things, though. Good point. We both relax. Yeah, it's some ID mix. I don't think you're 18. We both relax a little into our seats. It's trying to take our minds off the choking formality of the front. Yeah, she definitely doesn't look 18 there. As soon as we do, the same waiter reappears at our table with 2 empty glasses and a bottle, the contents of which are quickly and professionally poured into the former. We both nod politely as he leaves, Lily taking her glass and gently moving it from side to side. The liquid inside glistens as it moves around in the glass, and I have to admit it makes me a little less regretful for ordering the same. I guess it must take effort to judge how the liquid inside is acting based only on its center of balance. Maybe it's like a origami, taking every little chance to practice her dexterity. I guess I'm not surprised that you know about a place like this. Those who have money would, I suppose. This reminds me just of how completely different our upbringings were. In Yamaku, it's easy to forget about social and economic disparity between students all wearing the same uniforms, living in the same dormitories. Well, Akira was the one to tell me about it. She's come here before, apparently. So that's what they were conspiring about on Friday. And you chastise me for cheating? That's not cheating. It's simply making use of personal contacts. If you say so. Still, I get the feeling you are more familiar with this kind of restaurant than I am. She pauses for a moment, a wistful look on her face before softly smiling. The compliment seems to brighten her mood. You can thank my former school for that. If I were to appear any less, they'd be gravely disappointed. She has mentioned her previous schooling before, but now I'm kind of curious. She seems to think a lot about her past, so I don't see any problem in asking. What was it like? It was prestigious, all girls and Catholic. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. These facts made my parents choose it for me. Many wealthy families sent their daughter there. Catholic schoolgirls. From how it sounds, life there must have been pretty strict. I wouldn't say it was a bad experience. But you're quite right, it was very strict. Thankfully, I managed to adapt well enough and make a number of friends. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for my sister. She found the atmosphere and religious aspects suffocating, and ended up leaving for a job as soon as she was able to. She gives a small, self-deprecating chuckle. I shouldn't complain about it, though. Not many even have the chance to go to such a school. Do you resent your parents for sending you there, then leaving? She gently shakes her head. My family is highly patriarchal. My father, business always on his mind, was entirely lost as to what to do with me. In the end, he made the decision that my education was of higher priority than staying with the family. He simply did what he thought was best. To say such a thing so easily, what an unbelievable girl. Glil. What an unbelievable girl. That said, I'm a little surprised she doesn't think her blindness played any part at all. Though maybe I'm being too harsh on her family. You're too kind-hearted. You know that? Most would hate their parents for something like that. Well, some do. Obviously, to my raised eyebrow, she takes a sip from her glass. Oblivious to my raised eyebrow, she takes a sip from her glass. The wine slips down it effortlessly. Her fondness for it evidently helped her deal with the flavour of alcohol. I can't say the same goes for me. What of yourself? What was your schooling like? Mine? Let's see. It was fairly normal public school, I suppose. Maybe a bit busier than the norm. I did quite well in class and played a soccer club. Since I'm the only child and my parents both worked a lot, I wasted most of my free time and money at the arcade with my free friends. No matter how much I played, though, I never did manage to beat Mai at any of those machines. Even Takumi and Shin lost to her whenever they tried. Then I'd be left trying to be the responsible adult when Shin and Mai fought again. Just the four of us, aimlessly enjoying our childhood. Those are some pretty silly times. I catch myself as I realise that I'm starting to zone out. The days of my old school disappearing to the night sky and bright city lights outside the window. Lily's face is an odd mixture of curiosity and sympathy. Given her strict schooling, I suppose something like this would seem an interesting contrast to the only life she's known. It sounds like your previous school was a lot of fun. I'm not really sure how much of it is nostalgia, but there are some nice memories. No, it's in the past though, so I can't go back there now, but from my accident I found a new life I'd never have imagined leading. The peace and calm of Yamaku, a new direction for my future in science, the friendship of Shizune, Misha, and Hanako, and most of all, you. Ah, you smooth bastard. She gives a deep, genuine smile as she moves her hand towards me, her fingers just lightly searching out my face before softly caressing my cheek. Her hand reluctantly retreats after a second of warm silence as we notice the waiter arriving of our meals. Lily does a deft job of covering her condition, except for the fact that her nod to him is slightly misaligned due to his silence. She really seems to work hard at appearing as normal as possible in public. While I noticed it long ago, I still can't quite gauge whether it's a want to not be treated differently, a slight sense of vanity, or some mixture of both. Anyway, I'm going to stop here, and then we'll carry on next time. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. I've been Millbee, and this has been Katawa Shoujo. I hope you had a good time. Goodbye! Oh, goodbye, Pluto!